We mentioned it last week, but it's worth talking to James Paterson, the Home Affairs, Shadow Home Affairs Minister, because he was the one asking the questions. He had the chance to talk to Meta and to Twitter and to TikTok and all of these social media companies about their business, about their censorship and about their attitudes towards that, misinformation stuff. But I've got to say, the performance of the TikTok people was word salad after word salad after word salad. The Senator joins us now. It was extraordinary to watch the well-briefed people say, well, we're a global company. Hang on, well, are you owned by China? Well, we're a global company. Where's the headquarters? Oh, I don't know. I don't get paid, with money. It just turns up electronically. How did you think they did?
Paul, it does show the limitations of rehearsing the talking points in front of the mirror over and over again and thinking that's going to get you through an hour-long hearing before the Senate. It was extraordinary evidence. It was evasive evidence. It was remarkable evidence. They could not tell me where the headquarters of their company was. They could not tell me where the majority of their employees were. They could not tell me whether there was a Chinese Communist Party cell within their company. They could not tell me that there was a Chinese government strategic stake within their company. And it was such an extraordinary performance, it even elicited headlines around the world. Your colleague Annalise Nielsen in Washington DC got a response from Republican Representative Mike Gallagher, the chair of the China Commission in the US Congress, who said that this was further evidence that TikTok could not be trusted and that democracies like the United States and Australia must act together to deal with this problem, and I completely agree with him.
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, here's some of the garbage that they were serving up.
I thought we'd get further in the second question before we had a disagreement on facts, but let's just try and unpick that briefly. You have previously said, including in your submission to this very committee and in filings in the US court system, that you are either a Chinese company or a Chinese headquartered company, or you have Chinese origins. Why are you no longer willing to say those facts that you yourself have shared previously and not only months ago?
Senator, I'm not saying that the founders aren't Chinese. That's true. It was ByteDance was established some 11 years ago by those Chinese entrepreneurs, and I'm happy to stand by that.
Okay, all right. So it is a Chinese-founded company. Is it headquartered in China?
Well, ByteDance has operations around the world. My understanding is there are more than 150,000 employees, and those employees are based out of 120 cities around the world.
Yes, but where is the headquarters? Every company has a headquarters.
Oh, well, Senator, there are offices in China. I don't know the formal headquarters of the company, but I'm very happy to provide that very specific piece of information, and I'll do so as soon as I can.
Fair dinkum. Now, WeChat, of course, didn't even turn up. We'll get to that in a second here. But we know that through your work and through much more information about how TikTok works, that state governments, federal government departments, state government departments say you're not allowed to use this on any of our devices. You're not allowed to look up to it in any of our Wi-Fi. So I've got to ask, how is the ABC and SBS still able to pump out content consistently on this platform? Because while they would hate to be called part of the public service, last time I checked, they're not actually paid for by anyone but the same pot of consolidated revenue as the tax office or anyone else in the public service.
It's a very good question, Paul, and not just because they're public servants, but also because they're journalists. Let's remember that TikTok was busted spying on journalists, trying to identify their sources through the apps and lying about it. They said they didn't do it, that they wouldn't do it, it wasn't even technically possible to do it, and then they had to fire 4 of their employees who were involved in surveilling 2 journalists who were writing critical articles about the company. So if you're a media company, let alone a taxpayer-funded one, you should be thinking very carefully about whether this is a safe platform for you or your employees to be on. And I am a bit surprised that the ABC and SBS, among others, seem to be still going headlong into this platform.
They're literally, and many of the MPs that are still on it, I use a burner phone, I've got something else. The whole point is you either want to kiss the ring of this organisation or not, all right? And I know there's a lot of people that are there, but I'll give you the tip. They're not there for the politics, all right? They're there for, the dance videos and all the other things. And if you particularly want to sit up late at night scrolling, like many of us do, way too often, there's Reels and there's Snapchat and there's 100 other things that you can get to. Because the reality here is that what people need to understand is nobody hates Chinese investment, nobody hates Chinese business, but when it is Chinese business that has access to your data, your movements, and the Chinese government can call in those businesses, and those businesses will not resist their government, like, say, Apple did, and I think bizarrely, but still, Apple in the United States said, no, we're not even going to tell you about a mass shooter's iPhone, how to crack it, because we say crack it for him, then we'll have to show everyone else. But instead, there could be almost real-time data being shared by China, who, last time I checked, is an adversary in many ways for the West.
Well, that's right, Paul. And even TikTok themselves had to eventually admit under my questioning that they have China-based employees, that those employees can access the data of Australians, that those China-based employees are subject to the national security laws of China, and that under those laws they can be compelled to provide assistance to the Chinese government, including its intelligence agencies. Now, despite acknowledging that, they wanted us to believe that those employees and the company would refuse to cooperate with the Chinese intelligence apparatus if that happened. So they would break Chinese law in China in order to protect Australian units. Well, forgive me if I'm a little bit sceptical about that claim.
Yeah, I'm with you. Thank you very much, James. Talk to you very soon.
Thanks, Paul.
Senator James Paterson. Follow him on YouTube, by the way. I know it's bizarre in a conversation about social media, but he puts up a lot of the clips of the things that he does that day in the committee. So if it takes 3 or 4 days for everyone else to get it, you'll get it on the day that he does it there, and you'll see it in its long form. The hour-long conversation about TikTok is fascinating and, in my view, frightening as well to see sort of part of the dancing and obfuscation, in my view, that was happening before. They, of course, say nothing to see here, and they're more than welcome to defend themselves anytime they wish on our